Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez shocked everyone when she tried to make defying a lawful congressional subpoena sound acceptable. What she presented as a defense quickly turned into a staggering attempt to bend basic rules, and it fell apart the moment real legal scrutiny hit.
You have members here that have submitted and mischaracterized closed-door hearings, so it is understandable why Hunter Biden would want to testify in front of the public.
During a tense House hearing, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez launched into what could only be described as Olympic-level mental gymnastics, insisting Hunter Biden shouldn't face contempt charges even though he openly ignored a lawful subpoena. Her reasoning twisted procedure, stretched definitions, and tried to rewrite what the law actually demands. Until Byron Donald stepped in and dismissed.
He has the gall to come here, show up, and then when the Democrats are saying, hey, he wants to speak, he leaves. This is a joke. This is a farce. The man has been subpoenaed by Congress.
Today, we're breaking down the full story without carrying water for any political party. No tribal loyalty, no prepackaged narratives, just logic, facts, and common sense. Because if you value clarity over blind allegiance, this is exactly the breakdown you need. Hit that subscribe button and let's jump straight into the discussion.
November of last year, the chairman issued a subpoena to Hunter Biden to appear on December 13th, for a closed-door deposition. Instead of respecting the rule of law, Hunter Biden chose to give a press conference on the front steps of the Senate. If you're a big-name Democrat, then you are immune to prosecution. Former Attorney General Eric Holder said as much in a memo he wrote regarding collateral consequences. For those who don't know, the collateral consequence policy allowed prosecutors to consider whether charging a company or individual will result in greater societal harm than not charging them. It is why Jeffrey Epstein's clients aren't behind bars. This is also the mindset of President Biden and his family. Too big to jail. Not too big to fail, too big to jail. The two-tier justice system is a disgrace to our country and the principles it was founded on.
For context, this hearing took place last January, but it's still highly relevant today. On November 8, 2023, Hunter Biden was subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee as part of the impeachment inquiry into President Biden. The subpoena required him to appear on December 13th for a closed-door deposition. Instead of complying, Hunter held a press conference outside the Capitol, declaring he would testify only in public. His attorneys followed up with official letters insisting that a public hearing was the only transparent option. Naturally, Republicans on the committee saw this as blatant non-compliance. With the facts clear, let's examine how AOC tried to reinterpret the situation.
Now, I may be one of the very few people that actually believes in Congress, in this country. But I do, and many of us do here. And we have an obligation to engage in good faith participation to execute and comply with the subpoena. The chairman said in front of the country several times to Hunter Biden, you can show up here in front of the world, in front of the public. Hunter Biden took him up on that offer. He said, I will show up in public. I will show up in public. He showed up here today. He showed up here in the past.
The irony was impossible to ignore. AOC opened her speech claiming she respects congressional authority, then spent the rest of her time defending someone who openly disregarded it. By law, congressional committees determine how witness testimony is conducted. While there's room for discussion, the final authority rests with the committee, not the witness. TV interviews and public comments carry no legal weight. Only the subpoena does.
And Mr. Chairman, I know you do your best with what you've got. You've got members here that have submitted falsified evidence to the record. You have members here that have submitted and mischaracterized closed-door hearings, and people want to say back and forth at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what party it's happened from. So it is understandable why Hunter Biden would want to testify in front of the public for the American people to be able to witness that testimony for themselves.
In Hunter Biden's case, The subpoena explicitly required a closed-door deposition. There was no ambiguity, yet AOC still tried to cast his refusal as a principled stand. Byron Donalds refused to entertain any of it. He confronted these evasions head-on, pushing back with clear legal points that cut straight through the rhetorical smokescreen.
Look, let's be very clear. This isn't about Hunter Biden's white privilege. It's about Hunter Biden's Democrat privilege. Because Donald Trump Jr. showed up for 5 congressional subpoenas. There was never this circus where he was subpoenaed by House Democrats and he showed up on the Senate side or showed up at the White House to answer in some fake, phony, lame press conference, not actually going to the House and doing what he was compelled by a subpoena to do. Hunter Biden did that. And then he has the unmitigated gall to show up here when we know that we're going through actually the legislation for contempt with, by the way, Mr. Chairman, we should actually get to the legislation of contempt. The speechifying is great, but let's do our business, members.
And this isn't unexplored legal territory. Look at Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon. Both invoked executive privilege, yet both were charged with contempt when they refused to honor congressional subpoenas. Their cases underline the precedent. Refusal to comply has consequences. You don't get a different rulebook just because the political winds shift.
He has the gall to come here, show up, and then when the Democrats are saying, hey, he wants to speak, he leaves. This is a joke. This is a farce. The man has been subpoenaed by Congress. Oh, and by the way, the January 6th committee, Mr. Raskin, which you did sit on, by the way, that was not a normally ordered committee of Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move forward with our business. He should be held in contempt. There was a subpoena. He did not answer it. Any other American will be held in contempt by Congress. Any other. This is Democrat privilege of the highest order. Let's do our job.
As Congressman Tim Burchett stated plainly, Congress has a job to do. Treating Hunter Biden differently only reinforces the perception that political allies get special treatment. One standard for insiders, another for everyone else. Still, Jamie Raskin continued raising broad philosophical objections, trying to rationalize Hunter's decision to ignore the committee's terms, stretching the conversation far beyond the legal facts in front of them.
I really hope that this committee will act in a way to negotiate and achieve a compromise with the witness. But if it goes to the court, it's going to present a novel question. What happens when a committee represented by its distinguished chairman goes out in public and repeatedly invites and challenges a witness to come before the committee, and then that witness gives the answer, yes, I will come in? At that point, the committee pulls a bait and switch and says, well, we actually don't want you to come before the full committee as was offered repeatedly in public by the chairman, but instead, we'd like you to come to a back room and do it there in a closed deposition.
Negotiate what, exactly? A way to excuse ignoring a lawful order? The subpoena was crystal clear. And despite the theatrics, Hunter Biden ultimately appeared behind closed doors anyway, because the contempt case against him was too strong to brush aside. This hearing exposed why common ground is nearly impossible today. Decisions aren't based on law or principle anymore, but on protecting your side's political image. Every action is judged by how it can be spun, not whether it follows long-standing legal standards. And when narratives matter more than rules, even basic principles get twisted for convenience. Share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And above everything else, keep thinking critically.